Right toe heels, you cannot fail, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, imagine, if you will, being at 12,000 feet. Now let me put that into proper perspective for you. How many of you have flown lately? Then you might remember hearing something like this. We have now reached the altitude where it is approved to turn on those electronic devices. Something like that? That's 10,000 feet. Take it 2,000 more and come with me and join me at the edge of the door. Are you nervous? You nervous? Okay. At the edge of the door. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to share with you an adventure about being 12,000 feet and jumping. Do you sometimes feel like that in leadership? Did somebody sometime come up to you and say, do you know, I think you'd be a great leader? Or perhaps, like many of our Toastmasters clubs, you went out to the restroom and you got elected president? Did that happen to anybody else in here? Yep. Or somebody shakes your hand and says, would you shake my hand? Well, sure, because we like to be polite. Oh, welcome to the position of area governor. Oh, yes, yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to share this adventure with you at the edge of the door, 12,000 feet. Proper attire, of course. I was wearing a feather boa. I had sequins on my top under the multicolored jumpsuit, and I had a good-looking Australian man strapped to my back. Because, see, you know, no matter what, I knew in my heart of hearts that when I jumped out of that airplane, I was going to get to the ground. No hesitation. Catch up with me here. And I knew if it wasn't going to be positive, I was going down with feathers, sequins, and a good-looking man. But see, at the edge of the door with this gentleman strapped to my back, his name was Ash, an Australian, so if I butchered the language, I'm very, very sorry. He says to me, Tammy, left foot out, right foot out. Are you ready? Let's jump. And jump indeed we did at 12,000 feet into nothing. And sometimes as leaders, that's what it feels like. Jumping into nothing. But see, what happened that moment is when I was at the edge of the door looking down, all I could see was the side, because I had part of the plane in front of me. I had part of the plane behind me. All I could see was this. But once we jumped out of that plane, I had the clear vision of where we are going. It is always a great honor for me to share the platform with our CEO, Dan Rex. If you've not had the opportunity to say hello to Dan, please make sure that you do. I mentioned to someone last night, he's a very approachable person, and within 5 minutes she was there to see him. Because Dan leads our organization with the vision of where we are going. He can see things that you and I can't see. He understands elements, and that's what an effective leader does. How many of you have had the opportunity to step up to leadership and you've said, oh no, I don't think that I'm ready for that. I don't think I could possibly do that. Oh my gosh, what the heck happens if I fail? Anybody feel that way sometimes? There might be people that you know that have been asked to be leaders and they're not sure exactly what that means. Well, see, sharing the vision of what we are doing, not only in our organization, but what we are doing in our district, our divisions, our areas, our clubs. The foundation of Toastmasters in the club. What we are doing is a vision that we all know and we can all share. That's the easy part taken care of for us. We already know what the direction is. Having the opportunity to step up in leadership of Toastmasters is an important opportunity that some of you may have already done, but some of you may know people that need a little bit of that encouragement to do so. How many of you are here today because you joined your first Toastmasters club and you said, you know what, I am going to go to a district conference? I don't know about you. I walked into my first Toastmasters club and I was trying to figure out what that alphabet was. What's this DTM they're talking about? CCAC, BC, I don't know what this is. Did I get into a band or something? The ACDC band? I don't know. Understanding that that's where we start in Toastmasters, is having the vision. I could only see a part, but once I jumped, the vision was completely clear. How many of you have ever gone skydiving? Few people. How many of you would like to go skydiving? Few people. How many of you think we're crazy? For me, it was an opportunity to celebrate my 50th birthday. I know you're shocked. I know you're shocked. I can see it on your faces. I did what every 50-year-old should do. I went skydiving and got a tattoo, and no, you can't see the tattoo. But it was another opportunity. Once I jumped, I could see everything down below me. And it was wonderful, and it was incredible to be able to experience that, to be able to experience something I never thought I would. But it was another opportunity that was being handed to me. I could see farms, I could see fields. I'm in central Pennsylvania. I could see all of this down below me. And it gave me a different perspective. In leadership, we have that different perspective because we have so much. But see, when we got to that door, it wasn't simply that I showed up one day and he said, Tammy, get in the plane, let's go. Because he helped me. Ash is a jump master. He's been doing this for many, many years, and he helped train me. We met ahead of time for many hours, and we talked about, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to go here, you're going to go there. All of this. Because, see, he was the leader. I was there. Even though I was in front, he was there as the jump master. And that was important to me. And it was a step-by-step process. I had never been through this before. It was a step-by-step process. In leadership, it's also a step-by-step process. I stand before you today as a past international director. One of the most proud moments I have in my Toastmasters career. And I can tell you, when I joined Toastmasters almost 20 years ago, I had no idea what that meant. In fact, I was in Palm Desert, and they were doing all of these interviews. And if you've not been to a convention, this might seem strange to you, but they interview the candidates, and they ask them a lot of questions. I had never been to Southern California. I was traveling with a few other people, and I said, wait, let me get this straight. So, you are going to, for the next 3 hours, sit here in this room and listen to these people talk, and it's beautiful outside. Hand me the keys, please. And I laughed. I had no idea what an international director did. But see, it's a step-by-step process. You heard Dwight say about being an auctioneer. Any fellow auctioneers in here? Someday I'm going to be in an audience. There will be. In fact, I snuck over to the dentist. They had an auction last night, and I was checking out their auctioneer. That's right. I would have never, ever even thought about doing that had it not been for my Toastmasters experience. But it was a step-by-step process. I was watching somebody. I'm an MC for a lot of events. And I was watching somebody, and there were these two personalities talking. And this person was asking this one if she would auction off some things. And this woman on this side was a television or radio personality. It wasn't in my community. I wasn't sure who she was. And I saw, because we're good at reading nonverbals, right? I saw the sheer look of terror on her face. She says, I don't know how to auction. I'm standing back there going, I think I'd like to learn the right way to do that. So I sign up for Missouri Auction School. And I'm heading out to class, and before, they send you this CD to help prepare you. This is what I heard. I put the CD in my car, getting ready to go, and this is the exercise we need to learn how to do before we get to auction school. Betty butter, once a butter, but she said it's butter bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. So she put bitter, better butter, put it in her bitter, batter, bitter, bitter, batter, better, so it's better, Betty butter, butter, bitter, batter, butter. And I went, drop me out right now. I'm quitting. And I am serious because I had to go in front of all of these people, and I'm the Toastmaster. So they expect other things from Toastmasters. I thought, there is no way I'm going to get this. I'm just going to drop out right now. But I didn't. I drive a lot. I put the CD in, I listened, I practiced, I listened, I practiced, I listened, I practiced. By the time I got there, I was able to not only say it, but sing it. Because obviously an auctioneer's a 5, $10, $15, $20, it's all that same rhythm. But ladies and gentlemen, that's what leadership is all about. It is a step-by-step process. If you are sitting in this room right now and you're looking at your table over there and you're seeing Janice and you're seeing Karen and you're looking at them and saying, oh my gosh, District Governor, what does that mean? Lieutenant Governor of Education and Training, what does that mean? Lieutenant Governor of Marketing, I don't have any idea what these people do. Do you know what? They were sitting here a few years ago saying the same thing. I don't have any idea what these people do. And some nights they still sit there and say that. I say that with respect because I've been there. I understand. But see, we started back here, didn't we? And we took it step by step. We started in our club. How many of you are club officers? All right. We took it another step. How many of you are area officers? Division. District. How many of you are going to be international director? All right. Yes. You never know. That's the point. You never know what you are being prepared for, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you have commented on my hair. I have pink hair. It's actually fuchsia fatale is the name. I just like the name. I write that off on my taxes because it's all marketing. It's all marketing. I'm a spokesperson for the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition. So people say, oh, pink hair. Well, let me tell you about our programs. It's all marketing, see? I never knew before 2001, when the doctor said, Tammy, you have cancer, that I would now be here as wearing pink hair. We never know what we are being prepared for. But from my heart, I thank this organization because had I not had the experience in Toastmasters, I would not have been able to reach out to others through the journey with hope. Where were you 5 years ago, ladies and gentlemen? Where were you 2 years ago? Where are you standing today? And where will you be a year from now? Leadership in this organization that changes lives is an incredible opportunity. I'm standing at the edge of the door, and do you know what I'm thinking? Do you know one of the reasons I honestly went in that airplane at 12,000 feet? Because I needed more speech material. Now that's pathetic, isn't it? But you know how many times I've used my just jump in several different situations? But see, it's about leadership. It's about taking the step. But standing at the edge of that door, knowing that it was the vision that Ash had where we were going, knowing that it was a step-by-step process, I can't forget the most important point of our trip, and that was on my back. Actually, on Ash's back, the parachute. And I have to ask the question, who packs your parachute? Who are you? What parachute are you packing? Everybody put your hand up like this for me, please. Fix your hair. It's been a long morning. Repeat after me. Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
It's all about me, baby.
It's all about me, baby.
That's exactly right. It's all about you, baby. See, to be the best leaders that we can possibly be, we have to understand who we are. Who we are. What makes us unique? You look in that mirror and nobody else can look in the mirror the way you can. That is one of the phenomenal aspects about this organization that we belong to. It is because when we look in that mirror, we all have differences. We all have similarities. We all have strengths that make this organization the most incredible organization to do what we do. But who packs the parachute? Did you ever think about that part? Many people don't step up to leadership because they're afraid that they don't know how to do it. They're afraid that they have to know everything about everything. Because what happens if you're Janice and you're the district governor and somebody comes up to you and asks you a question that a district governor should know? She says, I don't know the answer. but I do know who does. See, that's what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. As leaders, we don't have to know everything, but we have to be able to step out there and understand that we can find the people and know the people and ask the people who do know that information. How many of you know the story of Captain Charlie Plum? One person, all right. Captain Charlie Plum was a fighter pilot, over 75 missions, and he was shot down. Now, his story is his story to tell, but I would just like to share a little piece of that. Because when he was shot down behind enemy lines, and he spent 6 years in a prison camp. And he got out. Many years later, he's in a restaurant, and someone comes up to him and says, "Excuse me, are you Captain Plum?" And he says, "Well, yes, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are." And he said, "Sir, I've been following you. My name is, and I packed your parachute. I packed your parachute." Captain Plum was overwhelmed as he stood with tears in his eyes and said, "You don't have any idea how many hours I spent in that prison camp thinking about you." Because if his parachute had failed, he would not be there to tell that story. And he didn't even know who this person was. But he knew somebody cared enough about what they were doing in their job to pack that parachute. So, ladies and gentlemen, and leaders in this organization, I can assure you that somebody is caring about the parachute they're packing for you. I have never had an experience in my almost 20 years with Toastmasters and leadership to be able to say, "I need help," and not be able to call someone and get that help. Somebody is there because they're packing the parachute. I don't care to be a professional parachute packer. But that day, 12,000 feet in the air, I'm really glad that Ash knows what he's doing. So who's packing your parachute? Who has your back? And let's take that the other side. Whose back do you have? Who are you helping? Who's standing behind you? These people at this table can tell you right now they would never, ever be able to do what they are doing without you. They would never be able to do that without your help, your assistance, all the people that stood up when they asked about volunteers for this event. It is amazing how many people it takes to put this together. But see, it's everybody working together. Now, I am sure that many of you have been asked about taking leadership roles, and many of you have already taken them. But I'm also equally positive that some of you will be tapped in this room to step up and take another leadership role in this organization. See, our leaders help us because they have the vision. There's nothing worse for a leader to turn around and realize nobody's behind them. But it's also our responsibility as leaders to help prepare the people coming behind us. Because if we don't keep that strong, then it doesn't do us any good, does it? So we have that opportunity to step up. We know the leader has the vision. We know that it's a step-by-step process. And we know that we have to understand about the parachute, the safe landing at the edge of the door. Now, I would like to share with you a little piece of that adventure. Would you like to come along?
Yeah.
Would you roll it, please? type in Tammy Miller skydiving and see it. Some things you'll notice up there, ladies and gentlemen. You saw when we were standing at the edge of the plane, at the edge of the door. Looking down, we could only see a bit. But when we get out there, it's the full vision that we could see. That's what a leadership is all about. Understanding that full vision. In Toastmasters leadership, they make it easy for us because we have some of the most incredible leaders already in place as we're going to the next step. You could also see that it was a step-by-step process. And what you may not have realized is as he said, left foot out, we stopped momentarily because he's checking to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. Right foot out, and he's checking to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. See, we don't just jump. We have to know some information as we're doing this, don't we? And then as he says, let's jump, the whole vision becomes perfectly clear. Perfectly clear. Of course, I'd also point out, you might notice his cheeks are also doing this thing, right? But mine were not, ladies. For the women in the audience, oil of Olay. All right. You also know that it was a step-by-step process. We didn't just get to the door and he says, let's go. It's a step-by-step process. What steps are you taking to get closer to the leadership role that you want? What do you need to have to get you closer to that role? Do you need education? Do you need information? What do you need to get you closer to the role? But ladies and gentlemen, you started here 5 years ago, and you took the steps. 2 years ago, and you took the steps. A year ago, and you took the steps. Today, you're here. What is your next step in leadership in our organization? And of course, we can always have to remember the parachute. If the parachute wasn't packed properly, I wouldn't be standing here today, but I would have gone down with sequins, feathers, and a good-looking man. So ladies and gentlemen, I encourage all of you to understand the organization that we belong to is one of the most incredible organizations you will ever experience in your life. It has changed lives. It has changed my life on so many levels. It's hard for me to even express it sometimes. We don't know what we are being prepared for. But I ask you to consider, when someone says to you, take the next step, take a moment. Think about the edge of the door. Nervous? Think about the edge of the door. Think about the vision that we have. Think about the step by step. Understand who packs your parachute and no, I'm not going to jump. Just jump, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.